Good morning. You are getting poked by Laura right now. That's what's happening. You're getting poked by me. I really wish you could see the outside right now. It's freaking gorgeous, like angelic. Like it looks like a painting. I mean, it kind of does here every day if I'm honest, but today in particular, because we got a fresh coating of snow last night and we're getting some more today. And the trees are just perfectly powdered. You know, it looks like powdered sugar. And then the clouds have just enough sunshine, like making the tops and tips look like pink and frosted and round. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely stunningly gorgeous. I've got good coffee, and I might just keep drinking it and be obnoxious that way because I don't want this coffee to get cold. I have to run to the grocery. So after this, which is, it's my big outing for the week, grocery shopping. That's where I get my social activity on. Sometimes I might even talk to the cashier as I'm checking out. It's like very exciting. I'm waiting for them to play some disco lights at some point, but it hasn't happened yet. Anyway, I can't decide if I want to talk about supplements right now. I might just go for it because I don't really have anything planned. I haven't looked at the news. So I don't know what horrible fascist things have befallen us today already. It's 7:44 East Coast time, so you never know. Some of these people don't sleep. Although all the vampires are going to bed, so there's that. I'm kidding, sort of. I don't know. Who can tell anymore? Anyway, hi. How's your Monday? Or maybe it's not Monday. I'm trying to decide if I should say the day of the week. I feel like for historical purposes at this point I should, because you never know. And almost every day I have somebody message me with something that I said where they're like, oh my gosh, somebody else just said this. I'm like, listen, babes, my finger is on the pulse. It's on the pulse of life and living. Oh boy, I was about to say something that was going to get me in trouble. I'm not going to say that. Anyway, so I did get a question about supplements and what supplements are good to take, or actually, you know what, let me pull it up because it was a good question from a member of mine. When is taking supplements too much? Should I not be taking some with others? Well, yes is the short answer. Yes, you can take too many supplements. Yes, a lot of supplements you shouldn't be taking at all. And you should not be taking some supplements with other supplements. In my general opinion, people take way too many supplements. And now I take some supplements sometimes. Like in the wintertime, I definitely take my vitamin D3 with K2. Why does it have to have K2? Because if it doesn't have K2, it can deposit in your body as calcium. Like it can capture that D and like make deposits, not calcium, but it can make deposits on your bones and it can cause other problems. So the K2 helps it to absorb. And you can't eat K2 per se, so you do have to take it as a supplement. Most people need D3 K2, especially in the northern hemisphere. We don't get enough of D, which is really a hormone, not a vitamin, but I digress. So some things, yeah, I'm in favor of. I like to get them through like natural sources like cod liver oil, which apparently people who are quite famous at the moment are talking about and giving it a bad name, which is really unfortunate. But cod liver oil, but it's got to be refrigerated. It's got to be from a good source. I mean, listen, if you're going to take the time to take supplements, if you're going to take the time and money to spend your hard-earned money on things that are meant to make you well, make sure you're getting the very best quality. Quality is key. Now, generally speaking, I would advise for people to want to wean off of any in particular supplement that we may have found that you need to first get the best quality and then try to dietarily supplement. But that takes time. And sometimes the sources that are available and healthy these days on this planet, in this country, are not healthy. So it can get tricky. But I'll tell you, without knowing specifically, Miss Denise, what supplements you're taking, I can't answer specifically, but that's a perfect sort of a question to book a phone call with me. which anybody can do anytime. I have some appointments listed online, not all, but enough that if you're curious and you want to book an appointment, you certainly can. But okay, let me take a sip of coffee. Hold on. So I very often, and by very often, several times a year, we get patients come in, frequently people over the age of 40, more close to 50 and up, 50, 60, 70s. I would get people who come in with all kinds of symptoms, typically digestive, sometimes headache related, things like that. And I always take a medical history, whether it's in person or on the phone. I take a full medical history. It tells me a lot. I can get a real good sense of this person's constitution and what's going on with them right now. So as a part of that, I always tell people to write on the backside a list of all of their supplements and medications, over the counter, prescription, and quote unquote supplements. And it is not at all uncommon to have people come in with a half a sheet, a full sheet, 2 sheets of supplements. And they tell me about their days and how they have all of these pills and liquids laid out before them. So then I go through the discussion about the liver, and I ask what they know about the liver. Do they understand the function of the liver and how the blood works, how the small intestine works, things like this. And typically people don't, so we go through that. But in very simple terms, the liver will filter the blood. Okay, anything that goes through the blood has to go through the liver. It's a filtration system to a degree. And so what I tell people is every single thing that you're taking has to go through your liver, right? So what does that do? It puts a tax on the liver. It takes energy from the liver that is limited. And if it's taking energy from the liver, it's taking it from the kidneys, and I digress. The point is, we are a limited resource. You only have so many breaths. You only have so many heartbeats. Ooh, the snow's falling off the roof. It's very pretty. Oh. You are a limited resource being. One modern way that people say this is, I only have so many fucks to give. I'm saving my fucks. So very similarly, this is why I tell people that quality is so important when it comes to supplements. But in addition, when we're taking so many supplements, which people tend to do, you're putting an extra tax on the body that can actually make your body less healthy, less efficient, more tired, more depleted. And so the next thing I typically do is I walk through the supplements with people. Tell me why you're taking this. How long have you been taking it? And a lot of the time, especially with my older patients, you see people say, well, I saw this on Dr. Oz, or I read this in a magazine, or my friend Terry told me that. Right, so it's like something we heard and we think it's going to be a magical cure. And so then the next question I ask is, does it make you feel better? I don't know, is usually the answer. Which makes sense, especially if you're taking a fistful of supplements. So it's always individualized, the advice that I give, always. But generally speaking, we go through the supplements. We look at, okay, what do we really need here? What are we not so sure about? What do we know can just go? And so then we might come to a small list of supplements that, all right, maybe these are necessary. Maybe we're going to do these. But then I say, I want you to bring in what you have. And we look at them. And one of the key things you want to look for in any supplement is something called the GMP. And it will say GMP. Good manufacturing process. Okay, that's sort of the baseline for anything that you want to take. We need to make sure that they are following the GMP standards. But beyond that, then we want to know, what type of magnesium are you taking? Is it the right type for you? What are you eating in your diet that has magnesium? How are you eating it? Are you eating it raw? Are you eating it cooked? There's so many different ways to look at these things, and it might sound like a lot, but it's kind of like when I was, when my son was learning to read or write or some of these other things, and he would get so whiny about it, or making his bed. He still gets whiny about that. Honey, once you learn it, you never have to learn it again. And that's one of the tricks that you have to tell yourself about a lot of this health and wellness stuff. Once you learn the baseline, once you learn your filter and you understand the baseline, you never have to learn these things again. They don't change. And I know that Western medical dietary guidance can be very confusing because they are constantly changing what they think. And do you know why? Because they're not holistic. Because they're looking at things through a pinhole. They're looking to isolate this particular enzyme or this particular reaction or this particular particle or molecule or cell or whatever it is, right? So they're never seeing the big picture. So their opinion's going to change. Coffee's good for you. Coffee's bad for you. Eggs are good for you. Eggs are bad for you. Shrimp is good for you. Shrimp is... No. You don't have to listen to any of that. You don't have to listen to any of that. I should teach a class on it. I really should. Here's a mini class. So anyway, yes, there's a lot to figuring out supplements. And for the most part, I would say most people need to get off of most of their supplements. In fact, and this was the moral of the story, many times when people would come in with these lists of supplements, and I would take them off all of them, or I would take them off most of them, or I would take them off some of them. And do you know what would happen without acupuncture, without anything else? Just with a consultation, oh my God, their digestive problems would go away. Oh my gosh, their energy came back, their focus came back. Because what they're actually doing is poisoning their bodies with not only supplements that they don't need that put an extra tax on organs that have to then process those supplements, but also supplements that they're not really getting much out of. That they're not really getting anything out of because the quality is so bad. I once worked with a guy, or was it school? I think it was school. And he used to work with porta potties. And he said, I think there's like a catch screen, so it'll catch stuff. And he said that always at the bottom of whatever this thing was that would come out, like, whatever. Kind of gross to think about. I don't know. Poop is my business, but not that kind of poop. That at the bottom would always be piles of vitamins. Pills, vitamins, undigested, that just pass through people. But then you have the ones that can break down. You just aren't getting much out of them. You know, this is why a lot of Western allopathic caregivers will say, supplements. Like they'll poo-poo supplements. You hear that a lot from Western doctors. That's a waste of your money. You know, you're just making more expensive pee or whatever they say. And there is truth to it. I would disagree with where they're coming from and why. Because sometimes in this world, supplementation is necessary because the state of some of our food products, it's a little bit depressing. I'm not gonna lie. I work really hard to get my family quality food. It's not always easy, and there are things that we can't eat because of those things. But it's because I know the baseline, I know the truth, I know what to look for, I know the rules, and I'm happy to teach the rules. So we can talk more about that. If you have interest in that, let me know. I'd be happy to go over some things. But as a general rule, yes, you can take too many supplements. Yes, there are things you shouldn't be taking with others. And quite frankly, there's probably a lot of things you need to get off of. And if you do, you might actually notice an improvement. Because for me, very frequently when people are on too many things, I don't even have to do much. I just have to get them off their supplements. And that's a treatment, right? You're coming to me for advice and guidance and wisdom and knowledge. And that's a part of it. Let's look at what you're taking. Let's look at what you're putting in your body. Let's talk about what that does. Let's talk about how that works. Let's talk about the effect, the outcome. So yeah, education. Education, despite what our federal government thinks, is an amazing thing. I'm wishing you well. I'm going to go check in with the rest of the world, check my messages, check the news. Joy. So excited for that. And, bring somebody over here today. I need a few new members today. I got one new member this weekend. I need lots more. So let's keep doing it. Keep asking questions. Thanks, Denise, for the question. And I hope you have a great week and a great Monday. I'll be back tomorrow. Okay. I love you. Take care.